The Central Bank of Central Banks, aka the BIS, has given us the full blueprint to the future and the financial system as we know it. And what's funny about this is it feels as though we are now getting hints that are uncovering some facts and also key connections that can lead us right back to Ripple and XRP. We're going to be talking about it. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. I want to start off this video actually with this image that Chad Steingraber posted. Now, if you guys did watch my video from the other day regarding Chris Larsen, addressing how this new financial system is basically the internet of value, then you probably are aware of how he did mention that most will be off chain, aka those private ledgers, and eventually settle out on chain, as you guys do see reiterated here from Chad. This is how banks will operate for the foreseeable future, settling in bulk or using a third-party liquidity provider. Now, if we actually look at this image, this is from Citi themselves, Citi Digital Assets. Citi continues to develop digital asset solutions in line with its goals, governance and risk appetite, using a unified set of shared technology capabilities and a common strategic approach. These innovative solutions enhance Citi's products and services, including digital money, trade securities, custody, asset servicing, and even collateral mobility. And down here we have solutions we are delivering in partnership with our clients. Tokenization of private markets, proof of concept. This is Citi collaborates with Wellington Management and Wisdom Tree. By the way, when we're talking about Wisdom Tree here, definitely take a look at Stellar and XLM. We know Wisdom Tree is tapped in with XLM and Stellar, so that is a connection back to Stellar and XLM to explore tokenization of private markets. And then, of course, we have Citi Token Services for cash, trade, digital custody and settlement, issuing and payment agent for digitally native notes, pricing and execution of trades, and then regulated liability network proof of concept. And the regulated liability network, that is tied back to Quant. I know that R3 is tapped in there as well, but Quant Network definitely is tapped in as well. Now, outside of this, over here we have the high-level architecture of the Finternet. Again, remember what we've talked about when it comes to the Finternet. This is basically just the internet of value. Now we have here from Chad as well, the BIS unified ledger with the on and off ramps as shared/private ledgers, and the interledger protocol ILP as the central part of it. Below, the token managers, the left side, operate in private, then settle out into the public ledger. And this kind of ties right back to, what we are seeing here in terms of like, all right, it's going to be on, private ledgers and then eventually settle out on chain, aka on the public ledger. Now, a lot of people talk about how, there's a private and there's a public XRP. It's all nonsense. Anyone that's telling you guys that it's mainly for clicks, they're trying to, make up this narrative around it. When we talk about XRP, there's only one XRP. And even if it is a private ledger, again, the public XRP can be utilized on the private ledger, but eventually, just like we are hearing from, Chris Larsen, basically what is being settled on the private ledger, it will be settled out on chain, aka on the public side. But here we have the full breakdown of the Finternet. You have the applications, you have everything really kind of broken down in a sense of, we have those tokenized equities, deposits, real estate, bank money, pretty much everything of value, tokenized on the unified ledger, connected back to users, connected back to businesses. This is connected through, financial apps, non-financial apps, digital wallets, e-banking, all that. I want you all to succeed this alt season, so I put together a full list of tools that you guys can utilize to track where the largest whales are putting their money in this space that could ultimately net you a ton of ROI. I'm also giving out 30 free crypto gems that are fully researched and even broken down into specific risk categories. Both of these guides are completely free. All you have to do is claim your access right now by utilizing one of the links down in the description below. What are you guys waiting for? Make sure that you guys have access to this, especially for this alt season that is nearing. And again, the unified interledger protocol is being tapped in here. Now, a lot of people say like, oh, this is not the interledger protocol. I do believe that it actually is. And over here, We have the Interledger Protocol as the central part of the unified ledger by the BIS. See post below. Ripple primarily developed the ILP, so it is probably not surprising that Ripple secured the trademark of the name Interledger Protocol in 2017. And again, it is trademarked by Ripple Labs back in 2017. And you guys can see it here on the screen from XRP drops. Now, building upon this, big shout out to Smoke Dog. We have many of Ripple's technological solutions now rely on the Interledger Protocol more than the XRP ledger per se. Now, you might look at that and say, oh, well, that's bearish. That means that XRP is not going to be utilized. No, in fact, it supports the idea of XRP. And the way that we look at this, right, is because the world would never agree on one ledger, aka that unified ledger, right? ILP was created to synchronize payments between different ledgers, similar to Overledger with Quant. Now, again, I don't think that there's just going to be one player that rolls them all. I think that there's many connectors here. And when I say many, I think that's only going to be like 2, 3, maybe at most 5. But it's going to be the key crucial players. Like, for an example, you have Quant with Overledger. You have ILP developed by, players from Ripple. These are the key pieces that I really kind of look at. And I'm like, all right, yeah, these are the missing keys. But this is powered by XRP to facilitate transfers. And we have the world will never agree on one ledger. To overcome this paradox, Ripple developed the open source Interledger protocol that synchronizes separate ledgers without creating a separate ledger. Down here, we have many of Ripple's technological solutions now rely on the Interledger protocol more than the XRP ledger per se. But XRP is still, a significant piece of this. But also over here, implementation of the system. We have Ripple's Interledger protocol can function in 2 modes, atomic mode and universal mode. In atomic mode, notaries become part of the system. They are the ad hoc group that verifies and validates transactions. Typically, atomic mode occurs between trusted connectors, nodes, between banks or financial service companies that might relate to each other. The universal mode does not require notaries and can work between untrusted connectors. It uses Ripple's internal cryptocurrency XRP to facilitate transfers. So again, you can see how this will still plug and play with XRP, and XRP is still part of the entire show. Time constraints accompany the transfer. The transaction becomes null if it does not occur within a specific time frame. And we already know when it comes to XRP, if we're facilitating transfers with XRP being the settlement asset, it's going to be settled within 3 seconds. Now, beyond this, we also have Enbridge International Trade Settlement from ISO 20022. Let's do it and check out some of these images, right? So here we have Enbridge offers a unique opportunity to improve international trade settlements. Given that the total value of international trade transactions between the 4 participating jurisdictions accounted for or amounted to more than $730 billion, according to the World Bank, the Enbridge Steering Committee has given priority to this use case. Testing of sample trade settlement transactions across 11 industries has commenced on the trial platform. And here we have a full breakdown of how this will essentially work. It's kind of like you have all these major banks, then you have, food, groceries, clothing, oil, gas, healthcare, all that kind of stuff. And it's just a full breakdown of the system. And this is like the total amount test on the Enbridge trial platform. You can see how much of these currencies, 4 jurisdictions involved, 11 unique industries as well. Now, outside of that, we have the Enbridge connecting borders. Again, full breakdown of the CBDCs being connected. And what's funny about this is, like, when we really think about it, Ripple announced their CBDC platform, I think like 3 months before they actually joined the BIS. So think about how crazy that time frame actually is. And when we look at this, right, I don't want to say like, oh, it's an X, that means that's XRP. It's just so interesting on how these things work, how these things look. And it's basically like a diagram that I would see on like Ripple's website. That's not me saying, hey, it's like 100% confirmed, but we'll get there. Over here, we have building a multi-CBDC platform for international payments. Again, you can see the banks involved here. Over here, we have the use case summary, and this is the international trade settlement. Again, through testing, the project team validated that the Enbridge trial platform addresses the principal pain points of cross-border payments, including high cost, low speed, and operational complexities, while also ensuring that policy, regulatory compliance, and privacy mechanisms are appropriately integrated. We have 19 financial institutions participating here, 2 banking associations, and 1 exchange as shown below. And if we actually look at these large players involved, you could see the significance of these names. Now, also, I want to take a quick second to note that there's a lot of Ripple partnerships that are also on this list. we actually go over here, we could see the use case summary continued. Here are some of the names. You have Goldman Sachs on here, HSBC. We know HSBC is tapped in with Ripple, specifically through even Medico, which is now, fully Ripple. We also know Standard Chartered. A few of these, there is significant connections back, like for example, like the Thai Bankers Association, and even UBS. And then on the last section here, I really want to talk a little bit more about how I think that Enbridge really kind of ties to the new financial system. As we really look at the Internet of Value report by the BIS, the unified ledger is crucial for this. But also when we look at the Enbridge is tapped in through the unified ledger, and it's really kind of connecting everything. As we go over all these use cases, the trials of Enbridge, how it can connect everything, and then we go to this recent announcement around Saudi Arabia joining the central bank digital currency project Enbridge, things get a little bit interesting. Now, for all of those XRP holders that have stuck around, this is where things get very, very interesting for the connections back. So let's start off with this, which we have Saudi Arabia's petrodollar exit, a global finance paradigm shift. Everyone has been talking about this. All right. Building upon June 6th, when we saw them join the Enbridge project, this is 4 days later, we have the petrodollar exit potentially being up in question because we don't have 100% confirmation of this just yet. Mainstream media will probably not push anything about this, but we do know that the deal has expired. If we are going to start to see a major push towards the Enbridge project, then I do think that we are on the cusp of the new financial system being rolled out. But this is where things get very interesting. Big shout to 801_XRP. We have Saudi Arabia joining the platform will give it access to immediate low-cost cross-border currency transactions, which it will use to sell oil to China, giving rise to the petro yuan. The petro yuan is born. Saudi Arabia joins the Enbridge CBDC transfer system. The central bank digital currency revolution is beginning in earnest as Saudi Arabia becomes a full member of the Enbridge project. Like I said, this is basically the beginning of the rollout of the new financial system. Saudi Arabia joining the platform will give it access to immediate low-cost cross-border currency transactions, which it will use to sell oil to China, giving rise to the petro yuan. And here we have the petro yuan is born. Saudi Arabia joins the Enbridge CBDC transfer system. June 14th, the dollar is hanging on tight to oil markets, but its grip is loosening. Then also over here, we have Russia to start using CBDC for cross-border payments in 2025. And we also have the breakdown of, what is Enbridge and why is it reaching MVP important, all that kind of stuff. Again, remember that this is still utilizing DLT technology. And we also have, Swift getting really kind of tied to this because we have what makes Enbridge so revolutionary is that it will make cross-border transfers pretty much immediate, cheap, and universal when compared to traditional cross-border transfers carried on the Swift network. So this is basically a replacement of Swift, although I still think that Swift is tied to this. And the reason why is because remember that the Enbridge is a BIS-led project. And we know that the CPMI group with the BIS does involve Swift. I think that a lot of these names like Swift specifically are being phased out, but they still have a hand to play in the system considering the fact that they are tied to the CPMI group, just like Ripple, for example. But this is all based on DLT. Now, also over here, we have Enbridge's impact on sanctions and Swift itself. Again, we see Swift being talked about around like how, most of the transfers are made using Swift and how this could very well be a major change in cross-border transfer money. Also over here on the last slide, we have US Saudi Arabia security pact lapses. And again, this is just going back to the deal, how it didn't yet get fully, renewed. It's pretty much up in question on what's going to happen next. Is Saudi Arabia done with the US dollar? It very well seems like it. I don't want to say 100% yet because we don't have full confirmation of it. We probably will never get full confirmation of it, but I think that we're pretty much, already at that point where it's like, yeah, I think it's pretty much done. But here we have, while the global impact of the petro yuan will likely be modest and de-dollarization a slow process, that doesn't mean it won't be disruptive. And I completely agree. Never underestimate the power of competition and underdogs. Saudi Arabia's membership in Enbridge, the question is not if, but when we will see a shift to using CBDC for oil purchases. That signals a move away from the US dollar. It technically really signals a move away from the current financial system. I don't look at this as, oh, the US dollar is dead and, the reserve currency is up in question. I don't see a reserve currency being a thing That's the big thing that I've always focused on. We will see a major shift in the new financial system away from reserve currencies. China is Saudi Arabia's biggest customer for oil, and given the increasing trade between the nations, the yuan is the strongest contender to displace the dollar. And that's coming from this article, really kind of just talking about de-dollarization, the petro yuan, and even Enbridge and things like that. So as we really focused on this, yeah, I think that we need to be 100% focused on these changes. But how does this pertain to Ripple and XRP? Well, let's go over here. So this is the breakdown from June 6th, and this is from Digital Pound Foundation. The Enbridge system operates on an Ethereum-compatible DLT network called the Enbridge Ledger, developed by China's Digital Currency Research Institute. We know that actually looking at this, we have the BIS said that the Enbridge platform is now compatible with the EVM, the Ethereum Virtual Machine, a piece of software that forms the backbone of the network used by the Ether cryptocurrency. Now, what's funny about this is a test bed for add-on solutions, use cases, and interoperability. You know what's funny about this? This comes at the same exact time that we have 3 days ago, Ripple introduces the XRP Ledger EVM sidechain, bringing Ethereum Virtual Machine compatibility to the XRP Ledger. You seriously can't make this up. It's almost like everything is aligned perfectly. Maybe I'm crazy. People will probably say, no, that's ridiculous, X, Y, and Z. But if we actually look at these connections, they are very significant. And I do think that Project Enbridge is going to be a big focus. And this is essentially the start of the new financial system rolling out, because again, once we have confirmation that Saudi Arabia officially is done with the US dollar and they're now moving towards CBDCs with Enbridge, that is the new financial system rolling out. And from there, we really kind of see an acceleration of the new financial system really rolling out globally. We'll probably start to see the US moving heavily on that. And it's also aligning at a time where we're starting to see MiCA coming up in question around, regulations with crypto. By the end of 2026, we're expected to see global crypto regulatory frameworks out there that are going to, provide clarity for the space. It seems as though everything is aligning perfectly. And I do think that Ripple and XRP are tied back to this. And they could very well be tapped in now with, of course, the EVM sidechain, with, how the Enbridge platform is now EVM compatible. But also, on top of this, right, we already know that the Enbridge is a BIS-led project and platform. And we know that they brought on Ripple to the CPMI group. Why do you think that CPMI group, came to be? And you have all of these big players on it. It's all focused on cross-border payments. And even the Enbridge platform is focused on fixing cross-border payments. So to me personally, I think that you kind of have to be blind to not see the fact that Ripple is tied back to a lot of these major initiatives. And anything around a CBDC, I still think that Ripple is going to have a major role to fill, and also XRP as well. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.